And Facebook's in, Instagram's in, YouTube, you're here. Cool. We are good to go. Episode 193. I moved this Instagram camera around. Tammy's first in Instagram. Good evening to you. Hey, thanks for your help. Dina's here. Very, very cool. Tammy, thanks for your help. I knew it had the capability to push over to Facebook. I just forgot I had that activated. So, it's all good. Facebook, hopefully you people are coming back. Elise is here from Wheaton. Good evening to you. You made it. Marsha's here. Good evening to you. Colette is here from Long Island. Lisa, good evening. Kristen checking in for YouTube. Hello to you. Joyce out of Huntsville, Texas. Very nice. So I didn't see any of your comments from before. If you commented before in Facebook, I didn't see any of them. So anyways, there we go. Susie's here. Susan is here from California. Donna from Kentucky. Roxanne from Elk Grove, Illinois. Sheila's here on Instagram. Boiler Up from Chicago, says Ellen. Let's see. I missed a few. It's hard to keep up. Coletta from Rockford, Illinois. Denise from Pittsburgh. Good evening. Terry from Kansas City. Henry from Wrigley Field. Dude, if you're at Wrigley Field, you should not be watching the podcast. Go watch the game, can catch the replay. It'll be okay. Really, it will. That's why we record them. Go enjoy life. Go enjoy the game. Yeah, so they're on Facebook. So I'm trying to figure this out. So if 10 minutes ago when we were live on fatdag.com, there is a chat window, but you have to look for it. It's in the live video in the top right-hand corner. There's a tiny little button. You click on that, it slides the video over and makes a chat room. I was testing it on a couple different devices, and I saw it, and a couple people were able to comment back in. But anyway, now we're back on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Hildy from Cleveland's here. Yeah, Karen says, I guess I need Keith. I get it. So Lisa says, I looked all over the chat on the phone, no dice. I found it on mine. I mean, I'm not saying you don't, I don't know. Margie's here from St. Pete. Susan from Virginia Beach. Arkansas just got home after being rear-ended. Yikes, that's not good, Megan. Don't do that. Angie from North Carolina. Alicia's here. Jody from Westport, Mass. Good evening. Debbie out of Rockford, Illinois. Pacific Northwest. Jen is here. Sprangle's here. Just saying hello. Good evening to you, Steve. Margie said earlier I said I broke the 80 mark, but it looks like it's 81.6. How cool is that? Amy from Texas. Good evening to you on Instagram. Diane is here, rocking Lifetime. Good evening to you. Colorado Springs, Pamela's checking in. Charlotte checking in. Hello, good evening. Lisa, for me it was a very, very tiny icon in the bottom left-hand corner. But on the desktop version, it's a tiny little icon inside the video on the top right-hand corner. That's the best I can say. We'll test it again to next Wednesday night maybe, and we'll see how it goes. But I won't push it to Facebook this time. Patricia, good evening to you. Deborah, yep, busy guy. That's what we do. Daniela is supposed to be at the game with Henry. That's interesting. Charlotte from Arkansas. Wow. So Megan says a little sore and your car is still drivable, but it wasn't fun. No, it's not at all. Yeah, I don't know. Lisa, I don't know where it is. Next time we do it, I'll have to see. Lee, yep, the best place to have tested was on fatdag.com. I could do it again. No, I don't want to do that. I want to just stay focused on this. Jennifer from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Teresa, evening. Bloomington, Indiana. Patricia's checking in. Virginia, Cheryl's here. Amy says, just joined meetings again tonight, making the commitment to be there every week. Feels good, and it was a great group. By the way, hello from Ohio. Judy's checking in from Colorado over on Facebook. Glenda is present. Good job. Way to be here, Glenda. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Yeah, we need to get Keith here, apparently. Charlotte just finished doing nursing assessment video for a school, and Lee was your patient. Very fun. You guys are busy. Yeah, ditch the timeline. I agree. Ditch the timeline. Janice from Bloomington, a couple folks from Bloomington here tonight. Burleson, Texas. Phyllis is checking in. Utah. Megan Kelly is here. Good to see you again. I see Brian all the time, but I don't see, at least on Twitter, I see him all the time on Twitter. Yep. Elise said you have to hover over the icon to see it. So, yep. Dan, yep, we catch the recording in the morning for sure. It's kind of, I want to check something. Last time I checked, we were close to 2 million downloads. I wonder if we're there, just out of curiosity. I forget. I don't think we are. I forget how close we were. 1.997491. So tomorrow morning we'll have 2 million downloads. Nuts, you guys. Karen from Atlanta, focused in here. Good evening to you. Lee clicked on the video above this one. Yeah, they don't do that. No telling what you're going to get there. Robin from Dayton, good evening. So let's see. Minnesota, Patty's here. Tammy from Amarillo. Karen's here. Yep, Angie says going to bed early. You know what? I think I'm going to go to bed early too. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to oh wait, if I go to bed it doesn't work. So that's no fair. You guys get to go to bed early, but I have to stay up. That's no fair at all. Because if I said, hey, I'm going to bed now too, it's a great idea, there wouldn't be a show. We'll have to figure that out soon. Cool. Working on the schedule seems to be helping a little bit. Tammy, thank you. I knew I could count on someone. Lisa, don't do that. Lisa says sleep is optional. Remember? Yeah, I lived that for far too long. So crazy. Yeah, Debbie, I could take the phone. My wife would love that if we take the phone upstairs, crawl in bed, and do a live show from. No, not going there. You guys are crazy. Yeah, wise Nora's advice. Kim, good evening to you from Michigan. 70. It was hot here in Indy today too, so I'm glad to see Michigan made it to 70. There's a good chance that if Michigan stays at 70, I'll be willing to come back, but not unless you can guarantee me above 70 forever. Yeah, not it. Discipline guest host. Yep. Yeah, we could have a guest host, but you'd have to come here. I guess I don't know how it works. Cindy gained 1 pound on vacation at an all-inclusive resort. You're happy about it. Very cool. Great job. That's pretty good effort right there. Chris Lee 59 on Instagram said, lock myself out of Facebook. Lee, you don't know how true that is. Lee says good sleep patterns promote healthy weight loss. That is 100% true. So very, very cool. Yeah, Lisa says she'll come over and guest host. Yeah, you did that before, and it was a hit. It was a huge hit. So by all means, you are welcome anytime to come over and guest host and take over. Wendy checking in from Missouri. Good evening to you. So let's get caught up a little bit on, I don't know if you guys listened already to 192. Hopefully you have. I recorded 192 last night without you. Sorry. I just knew by the time I recorded it, it was going to be one of those deals where if I did a live show, the live show easily adds an hour to my evening. So I took advantage of doing the show last night without you guys. Sorry. But if you listen to 192, the end of 192 talks a little bit about the trip we had down to Biloxi. Linda checking in from Indiana. Good evening. Bev's here. Patricia, you didn't miss it. You're here. Kathy says 192 was great as usual. Thank you for that. But we'll go ahead and I'll kind of recap a little bit because I thought it was just absolutely awesome. So, we kicked off the international tour. I have a little thingy, like a little magnet, right? So there's the international tour for those of you on Instagram, Facebook. There it is. And then in YouTube, you guys can see, you and Facebook can see it at the same time. So that works out very well. So we started off in Biloxi, Mississippi. Biloxi, Mississippi is officially done. What a great group of people. There was 6 of us total, myself included in that 6. And what was really cool, as you saw the post on Facebook, is my intent was really to go out and bust this run out and just go as fast as I could and just see what I'm capable of, set a benchmark. And when I got there, Anna drove about 3.5 hours to be there, and then Linda drove 7.5 hours to be there. So there was no way with those 2 folks in attendance that I was just going to go bust this thing out and take off. So we decided that we would just all kind of go at our own pace. So the gun goes off, we take off, and Miss Ann Hale and I take off running. And we ran the whole thing. She did an amazing job at the end, just kind of holding steady and just carrying it through. And then when I got her to the finish line, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go back. So you go rest. I'll come back. And we turned around. I turned around and ran back out and just kept running back and forth to get the next person. I ended up running about 6 miles total. Took me an hour and 17 minutes to run a 5K. But it was just so cool to see there. A couple people had their very first, Linda's very first 5K, Keith's very first 5K. And it was just fun to be in that environment where, things that people had never done before that we were a part of together, and we did them together. And, sitting there at lunch, exchanging numbers was really, really cool. So, yeah. It was so much fun. I can't wait for Tulsa. Tulsa is going to be a little different. I will get the information out to you really, really, really soon. The race I have picked out there, I think I'm going to commit to that finally. That is the game plan. Yeah, Christy says I would love to come to Philly, but scared to drive across the state alone. Yeah, I get that for sure. So. Anyway, so we had a great visit, but it was, boy, was it crazy. So I left here. I worked a full day Friday, worked Friday, all day Friday, came home, packed a bag, changed, flew to New Orleans, landed in New Orleans around midnight, drove about an hour over to the hotel, went to bed around 1, up at 5:30, out to the starting line, ran the race, had lunch, drove right back to the airport, and got home at 1 o'clock. So about 25 hours or so of travel, but it was 100% worth it. I do it all again, and in fact, we're going to do it again in Tulsa. So very, very cool. Well, let's get episode 193 in the books, shall we? Let's get it started, shall we? Yep. Dun, dun, dun. Lisa's Friday was my 2-year anniversary of goal. Got your key charm. Is 3 times the size of your others. Very cool. Very cool. Mic check, testing 1 2, test. I don't really. Test. There it is. Testing, test. All right, cool. Good to go there. We are good to go. We'll get the microphone out of your face there for you on Instagram. So Tulsa is nice. Tulsa, I actually go to Owasso, which is northeast of Tulsa. That's where I'll be for a couple days. But let's do this. Cheers. I had a little sip earlier, so we're cheating. We're not going from a full bottle because a little while ago I was thirsty. So let's do this. Microphone. Cheers. Jamie says, I got my IKEA water bottle ready to go. Gulp it down with you on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Here's something I didn't really think of until just now. You'll have to tell me if this is true. So when you guys type all the water emojis into the phone, as we're doing this, then in the middle of the day, when you're out typing and texting someone and you look at your most recent used emojis and that's probably at the top, does that remind you to keep getting water? That'd be kind of cool if it did, kind of like a fringe benefit. So kind of neat. So anyway, all right. So Stacy says, I need a new focus. You're down and out of sorts. No, you're not. Tammy, thanks for confirming that. I didn't think about that until just now, but yeah. So if you type the water emojis, it'll remind you all day. You get like an all-day reminder to drink water. I think that's so cool. How cool is that? We're doing this. Haha, very cool. Rachel agrees as well. So cool. Are you guys ready for episode 193? Here we go. Let's do this. Cheryl, good evening to you. Kathy says she also sets her alarm on your phone for every 2 hours on vibrate to get water. That's a good idea too. Cool. There's an app called Plant Nanny that does that too, right? So the UP is here. Carissa, good evening to you. All right, let's go. We got this. Here we go. Get a deep breath. I am your host, Fat Dag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. That's right. I believe in you. I say that all the time, but man, I want you to know that I mean it. When I say I believe in you, it comes from a place of I know what's capable in you. I know what's possible. I know what you're trying to do. I know so many people who've done it. So therefore, I believe that you can do it as well. I know you can do it. I believe you can do it. And episode 193 will continue to prove to you that it's absolutely worth doing and, of course, possible. Let's open up the show, and we really want to dive right in. I want to get to this great email. It says, hi, Fat Dag. I've joined Weight Watchers many times since I was 18 years old. I am 49 now. I started in September of 2017 with meetings thinking that I only have 22 more pounds to lose. It shouldn't take me that long at all to get to lifetime. My highest weight a few years ago, my highest weight was 245 pounds. My starting weight with online only was 190. Starting weight with meetings, 163. Current weight, 147.4 pounds with a goal weight of 141. Since I joined meetings, it has gone so slow. We're on a strict budget, and one of the things that I'm keeping is my Weight Watchers, but I vowed to my husband and me I would hurry up and get to goal so it would be free every month. I am losing this weight for me to feel good about myself and to stay healthy. All of the other times that I lost weight, it was for others, but this time it's for me. I started with meetings, which I absolutely love, but then my birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, now Easter, and I'm also addicted to food and sugar, and I'm a binge eater. Every time I go to a family function or a small party, I binge that night enough to gain possibly 3 to 5 pounds. I get right back on the plan the next day, but my husband of 27 years has no clue that I binge. He doesn't understand why I can't just lose the last few pounds. I'm not going to go through all the times that I've lost and gained and lost and gained. It would take too long, but I had a husband and a son going through cancer treatments. Not at the same time, so emotional eating is a huge thing for me. I absolutely love listening to your podcast. I go to sleep early, so the next morning I watch the live part to your show while getting dressed for work. I then listen to the actual podcast on my hour-long drive to work. I vowed to never eat in my car or bed, so this has helped me a lot. I know I am rambling, but I thought maybe if I wrote and got a good, encouraging word from you, it would give me a good kick in the fanny to keep going. I love your podcast and love listening to them on my walks and my commutes to work. Thank you, name redacted. So, I think this is one of those instances where, as we work this journey, we often forget to celebrate what we have accomplished. And when you look at this entire journey, and a starting weight 245 pounds, current weight 147 pounds, that's almost 100 pounds lost. And so, that's an amazing accomplishment. And you can't find too many people on the planet who've actually done that. You've done it. Congratulations on completely changing your life. You have to look better. You have to feel better. You have to understand that everything that you've done to this point has gotten you here for that success. There are so many things going on in your life, and certainly, having to take a pause for a moment as your husband and your son undergo cancer treatments. The emotional eating certainly is going to kick in during that time frame. Having a plan certainly may have given you some sort of help during that process, but the reality is, as we talked about, you have to just some point just say, hey, I'm doing my best, and I'm still down 100 pounds. I think I'm going to be okay as we navigate this new thing that we're dealing with. There will always be a holiday around the corner, whether it's your birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. The list continues to go on, and we talk about every year. We talk about the big three: the Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. But reality is that as we start working this process through the year, we start finding every little reason to celebrate. And that's important to do as well. But we got to think about what it is the major goal is. With St. Patrick's Day, you can mix in there. You can mix in the 4th of July. You can mix in, Flag Day. There's always going to be a reason to overdo it. Some of us who struggle with binge eating, I don't have a ton of experience in that area, but I do have some familiarity. It's not completely uncommon in my world as well, but I understand and recognize that just like you, it's a quick little reaction. It doesn't solve whatever the issue is. I have to wake up the next day, moving right along and getting it done. That balance that you've had, certainly has led you to get to the point where your current weight 147.4 from a starting weight of 245. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't overthink this. What I want you to do is continue with your great rules of not eating in the car, not eating in bed, listening to the podcast, staying mindful, staying focused. You absolutely can go out and be amazingly successful. Now, it certainly, when we get to the point where, we continue to have that, that evening binge where no one else knows about it, what we have to kind of understand is that at some point, we'll talk about it, that's just kind of keeping those addictions and keeping that sugar habit alive. So you want to get to the point where you recognize what those triggers are, find a way to substitute something, have something, such as grapes or an apple, have something handy that you're less likely to overeat on. But if you do overdo it, it's certainly a much better option. And in my instance, it's just easier not to have my trigger foods in the house. So therefore, I can't go running to them when something comes up and just certainly takes me off my game. You clearly, have this thing going on. I want you to just kind of, in your own head, address on how you want to figure out how you want to attack this, how you want to plan for it, how you want to recognize it, and just continue to focus on being the best version of you that you can be. Continue to work on it and get it done. You can do this. You clearly have proven it. You've lost 100 pounds. That doesn't happen by accident. You just don't certainly wake up, binge or no binge, you don't wake up 100 pounds down, not having discipline, not having focus, not having a strong, solid mindset, understanding what you're trying to accomplish and working very hard to accomplish it. I'm incredibly proud of you. Keep up the amazing, amazing work. Next up, Colette writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. My why is simple. It's Dad versus Dan. My name is Colette from Long Island, and I was married to Dan for almost 40 years. He was a wonderful man, a great husband, a father who struggled with his weight his entire life. He was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in his early 30s. He became a walking example of why you need to do everything you can to avoid diabetes. Over the 30 years he had this disease, he encountered every complication related to it and was on at least a dozen medications. He had problems with his feet, his eyes, his heart, his kidneys. He had 2 major heart surgeries, an amputation of a toe, multiple procedures to alleviate bleeding in the eyes due to diabetic retinopathy, and in the end was on dialysis, resulting in the complications leading to his passing. He was genetically predisposed to diabetes and heart disease, and his parents died very young from these diseases, and he always felt he would die very young. And while 65 is young, he outlived his expectations by 15 years. Over the years, he fought against this disease, but it was an ongoing battle because of his addiction to food. We actually shared this addiction and the related weight battle, joining Weight Watchers many times, sometimes with some success, but never really lasting success. This addiction is so strong that even when you know it's shortening your life, it's a struggle to control. I suppose it would be easier if you could just stop eating, but that's not an option. On the other hand, my father is 93 years young. He golfs a few times a week, walking the hilly course. He takes very little medication, one I think, and enjoys a very full life, golfing, bowling, and attending music events on a regular basis. I want to think I am genetically predisposed to have his life, but carrying an extra 100 pounds will override that. My why is that I want to live the life that my father lives, not the life that my husband had to endure. No matter how long it takes for me, it's more about the quality. It took me more than 2 years to go back to Weight Watchers after my husband passing, partially because it was something we did together, and partly because when I met him, I was mostly going for him and did not fully commit myself to my plan. During 2016, I had a small medical issue that was potentially caused by obesity. The issue was resolved, but this was a wake-up call for me. I've always been very healthy, especially for an overweight 60-year-old person, no high blood pressure, reasonable cholesterol and sugar, no medication, so I've managed to ignore the potential risk of obesity for me, even though I was living the worst of them with my husband. In January, I joined Weight Watchers again for the last time. I am here for life. I am very focused. I am the one who downloaded many wise advice podcasts to play on my trip to China, and I was very glad that I did, as that resulted in a 3.4 pound weight loss on vacation. Who does that? Well, someone who's focused. This has gotten me down 30 pounds in 3 months, more than 10%, so we all know what that means. Goal is in my future. I track every day, and I've had a few small stumbles that remind me that the addiction is still very much alive. I'm addicted to sugar, and I have tried to cut it out completely, as a few times I've had it, it led to eating more than I wanted, which even though I had points for it, it was unpleasant because of the lack of control. I have also cut out artificial sweetener, as I feel it keeps the cravings alive, and I've definitely noticed a lack of cravings. Like you, my willpower is so much stronger before the very first bite. I'm almost caught up with all of your podcasts, but I'm especially enjoying the Facebook Live ones now. I received my extra large Fat Dag International Tour t-shirt in the mail this week and hope to join you in Philadelphia in August. Well, hopefully the shirt will be too big by then. As it fits now, you, Connect, the Facebook groups, they're all great tools, but I know that I am responsible for my journey, as these tools only help if I plug into them. I'm on my way to goal and then a lifetime of maintenance. Thank you for wishing me good focus, and every day, whether it's live or previously recorded, I wish you good focus also. Colette. Colette on Connect is Colette Bennett 72257. I'll put a link there in the show notes. But Colette, first and foremost, what an amazing opening to your email. Dad versus Dan, and the tale of two lives. Certainly, you have the opportunity to see both of them in front of you. My heart breaks for you for the passing of Dan, and what a life that he had to endure because of this addiction that we continue to struggle with. It's why I want to just make sure that unnecessarily people don't have to struggle with this. It's not something that we really have to endure, but what has to happen is we have to understand the complications. We have to understand the challenges. You living in it firsthand, you know what it's like. You've seen it, and even that didn't give you a strong enough wake up call to change it. You're absolutely right. The addiction is very strong. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know what the future holds, but it still wrestles with us, and it still causes us to make some choices that otherwise we wouldn't make if we truly were in control. Seeing the tale of the two stories of the Dan versus Dad, you now I've gotten to the point where you understand what it is that you're after. You understand what it truly is that you want, and to have a life as full as your father has now, that is the ultimate prize. I said it in episode 192. If you want to be healthy when you're older, the time to take care of that and make that happen is now. You cannot wait until you're older to finally try and have that life. You have to build it along the way, and that's exactly what you're going through. I'm sorry that it took, again, Dan, from you at an early age, so the two of you couldn't work this thing together. But you now have an opportunity to do something for you that you should have done all along, and that's to take care of you. And what's going to be amazing as you do this is that other people in your circle will start seeing the amazing success that you're having, and somebody will come in and say, yeah, I want what she's having. I want to live a full life like Colette is, and it's going to be this entire journey that's going to make that happen for you. You're doing amazing work, and the fact that you now understand that this time is for you. I understand that. I understand that the many times that you'd previously signed up for that, you weren't fully committed because you were going in as a wingman, not as a person who was doing the journey for yourself. This time is time to put you first. So many times as we're caregivers in these lives, we want to make sure that we take care of every single person out there, but the reality is we take care of us first. That's when we're able to completely get it done and make a change. I'm so glad that back in 2016, your small medical issue potentially related to obesity was a slight wake-up call, enough for you to write about it and to continue to think about it. I want you to focus there and say, you're right, this is the very last time that you're joining. At this point, the only thing quitting does is this gives you a new start date, and in many cases, it gives you a new start weight because that wake-up call has to come again at a much different place than it came this time. I want you to stay focused. Thanks for tuning into the podcast, using the tools that were out there. A trip to China with a 3.4 pound weight loss proves to me that you can do anything that you want. You're down 30 pounds. You hit your 10% goal. You're absolutely right. A 10% goal means that you can do whatever. You can hit whatever goal you want. You can do this. Having stumbles along the way, understanding the journey is the part of the journey that you're in now, is the piece that's going to give you the long-term success. Understanding that this is an addiction. This has to be managed for the rest of our lives. For some of us, we will always have to every single morning wake up on fire saying, what is it that I'm trying to do today? Cutting out sugar completely, trying to wean yourself off it. Some people, everyone reacts differently. You have to find out the piece that works for you, understand it, know it, and move on. Cutting out artificial sugars, cutting out the cravings. You and I are very similar. Is that first bite to me is the one that almost always leads to a second, third, fourth, and fifth. I know that about my journey, so therefore, knowing before I take that first bite, it's a very, very calculated conscious decision to do that. Continue to figure it all out. Continue to work. I can't wait to see you in August. Part of the Fat Dad Tour, we're going to be in Philadelphia in August. And, I do hope your shirt's too big. And if you bring me the shirt in person that's too big, I will make sure you get the size that you need in August. So keep working your goal. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's make this thing too big, and I will bring you a medium. That's what I'll bring in. And if you show me that you're in it, I will absolutely hand it over without a doubt. You're probably going to have to remind me, but that is my goal. That's the commitment I make to you, Colette, right now as we go through this. You can do this. A lifetime of maintenance awaits for you. And when you sit back and you understand that you have now seen both opportunities of life. You've seen Dan's story, you've seen your dad's story, and both are amazing lives, and one was tragically cut short. And we are all working very hard to do whatever we can to make sure that that doesn't happen. On Facebook right now, Karen writes in and says, Colette, and hearts and emojis, and Marcia says, you will rock this, Colette. Diane says, great email, Colette. It's incredibly true. And that's what's cool about this community is you're getting it done. You will absolutely rock this, says Tammy. It's just something in this email that I can tell from the thousands of emails that I've received. I can tell that something has shifted in your brain. I could tell in the very opening of your email that you knew exactly what you were going to write. You knew exactly what you're focused on. And then when you said Dad versus Dan, you're going to have the amazing life that your father has, and how proud of you he is going to be when you two can celebrate together and you maybe go walk the golf course together. So Colette, thank you for your email. Thanks for writing in. Keep up the amazing work. Alex writes in, says, hi, Mike. Alex A. Sanchez 021977 and Connect. Hey, I hope this message finds you and your family well. I'm writing this quick message to let you know that today, Thursday, April 5th, I went up 2 flights of stairs without stopping to rest or to catch my breath. Yes, that's correct. It may not seem like a big deal, but it is. I try to avoid stairs as much as possible due to arthritis in my knees. Anyhow, this week I've developed a sinus infection and bronchitis. I'm coughing constantly, but after the 2 flights of stairs, not one cough. Was I out of breath? Well, absolutely. My legs were shaking when I was all done, but all I could think of was I went up 2 flights of stairs without stopping. It was such a great feeling. It surprised me. What's more important was that I was at my son's track and field event. The old me would have not gone down the stadium stairs to be closer to see him participate. This newer version of me did. When I got to the school site and I saw the stairs, I knew going all the way down meant a closer look at my son, and I knew that once we were done, I would have to go up the stairs, and it was going to be challenging. But I didn't care. I went down. As if I was okay, I had to stop and I rest. I wanted to see my son and my boy, and did I surprise me? Woohoo! What a great feeling. I went up 2 flights of stairs. My starting weight, 389.6 pounds. My current weight, 344.4. Total weight loss, 45.2 pounds. That is all. Just sharing my excitement. Thanks for listening and always being there for us. Thanks for all that you do. Best wishes, Alex. Alex, how cool is this email where something that you were intimidated by for so long, you tackled it. That is what this entire journey is about. As we work our plan, as we work to develop a much healthier lifestyle, it's very important that we celebrate along the way. I think so often we wait to celebrate until we get to what we consider the final goal. And if we don't take opportunities along the way to celebrate every single victory along the way, then sometimes we never actually feel that joy that we should have every single day, understanding something so awesome as going up and down 2 flights of stairs. Alex, that's incredible work, and I can just picture you, in your email. I can see the emotional jumping off the page, and I can just imagine being there, seeing all of your your joy as you realized you did it. How amazing is that? When something that you worked very hard for, you've been focused, you've been disciplined, you've been tracking, you're down 45.2 pounds. That doesn't happen by accident. That's you putting in the hard work. And as a result, these stairs are no match for you. Thanks for sharing in your excitement. I'm excited to walk with you. And how cool now that as your son is out there on the track field, that you get to take in the extra opportunity to watch it. And I tell you, I actually can relate to this now because this is the first season that Megan has joined track, and you're right. The track is a pretty big event, and so depending on where you sit, you only get to see a tiny little dot. So every chance you can get to get closer is worth it. Nothing can stop you now, Alex. You are well on your way. You can do what you can't lose 45.2 pounds back. And so just keep doing what you're doing. You will reach whatever goal you want to get to. Thank you for sure for writing in. Next up, out of Terre Haute, Indiana, Julie writes in and says, celebration hitting the trifecta. Well, call me Alice, Fat Dad, because I am in Wonderland. When I weighed in this morning, it was 196.5. I've lost 54.5 pounds and 20% of my overall weight. Thanks so much for all that you do. I've been listening to the podcast for the past few weeks, and you're so inspiring. I listen to it first thing every morning, and I feel like it sets me up for daily success. I also found out that you're a leader in Indiana. I live in Terre Haute, and I hope to make it to some of your meetings and meet you in person. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart, Julie. Julie, thank you for your email. Yeah, Terre Haute, I'm pretty fond of Terre Haute. Lately, I've been driving to Terre Haute 3 days a week. I was there all day today, as a matter of fact. It's kind of on my list of places to go. But Alice, what a great email. 54.5 pounds, 20% of your overall body weight. You betcha we're going to call you Alice. Alice in Terre Haute is your new nickname. We're going to kind of knight you with that. And kind of give you that honor and that distinction so that you say that, this is something that I did. I tell you, when you see that first number on the scale as a 1, after for so long, never, ever, ever seeing it, it's definitely something new and it's definitely exciting. And you clearly have been dialed in, you've been focused, and you're getting it done. I feel, just like you said, I think one of the reasons I want to do this show daily is because I believe very firmly that you have to wake up every single day on fire, knowing what your goal is and being focused on that. The podcast or anything in that matter, but the podcast is a tool that gives you that opportunity to start your day in a mindset of, I can do this. It's a daily dose of success, and that's the reason we deliver this daily. But now there's the 192 other episodes, so you can always find a way to get dialed in. But if you start your day every single morning on fire, wanting to get it done, it clearly will put you on the right path. And you've done that, Alice, down to 196.5 for a total weight loss, 54.5 pounds, 20%. What an amazing accomplishment. What a way to celebrate. Perhaps one of these days when I'm out in Terre Haute, maybe we'll catch up for lunch or something like that. We'll have to see if that's in the cards, if we can make that happen. If not, you certainly can go to fatdag.com, click on my event tab. You'll see what meetings I lead here in Indiana, one in Plainfield, one up in Carmel. You're certainly welcome to hit either of them. But way to go, Alice. Congratulations on your hard work. Julie, keep up your amazing success, and let's continue to celebrate. Well, what is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to fatdag.com, click on the Wise Advice podcast to send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I really want you to be proud of what you're doing. If it's something that you are just wanting to tell me, you want to tell the world, you want to celebrate it walking up 2 flights of stairs. If that is what you've done and you are proud of it, you need to share it with the world. You can see the excitement when they come into my inbox, and we want to celebrate with you as well. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Lee says ketchup for lunch. Lee's funny. We got a nickname, Funny Lee. Funny Lee. There we go, episode 193 in the books. Woo! Isn't it awesome? I think so often. Yeah, I think so often when we walk this journey, I believe the non-scale victories of this journey are the key. When you say, when you find things that you are proud of, that you're getting done, and you celebrate them, it really gives you that desire and that want to go do it again and just keep working. And so that's what I always want you to do, is continue to find ways to continue to keep celebrating. The more you celebrate, the more you want to celebrate, the more you look for things to celebrate. Next thing you know, you're standing there with all your goals accomplished, and you set new ones. So yeah, Tammy, this is a cool show. Always kind of positive vibes. The emails I get are just absolutely incredible. I wish I had a way to share them all. It's just crazy, crazy cool. But Colette, you're very welcome. I saw you pop in at the beginning of the show, so I knew you were here, and honor to share your journey with the group. And so thank you so much for writing. And I meant what I said, but it's an amazing life that we've been given, and it's that point where we just have to just say, I can do this, and we don't have to be perfect, we don't have to be amazing, we just kind of really just have to be present. So you clearly have got this for sure. Chris, you came in late, got the last email, but you can always listen in the morning. Jamie says it quite true. You can go back in the morning and re-listen, and you can keep going back and just get it done. So Lee is asking if they're a 3,113 days track charm. Let me see. I don't see one, but we'll get you one, Lee, for sure. Very fun. Pam says you don't have to lean on shopping cart in your stores anymore, which is your non-scale victory. That is very, very cool. I want to do that. I kind of retweet them when you put them out, but if you tweet using the hashtag Wayupsep, I have an app now that helps me. I still have to go in and do it, but I can read them, and then I can kind of send them back out in a little bit of order. So send me your non-scale victories with the hashtag Wayupsep on Twitter. I'll push them out, and that becomes a little bit more, motivation as we work it and get it going. So Mary Lou says, great show tonight. Lots of stuff that you needed to hear. Yeah, that is the whole plan for the show, is that, I said this a couple episodes ago, is I can't, the only piece of this journey I can share is the piece that I lived. So there's so much more to it that I don't have the personal testimony to tell. So I rely on you guys writing in and telling me your story so that other people can relate to it. So the only story I have is mine, and it only relates to a small portion of the world. And so everyone else's story is what continues to relate. So Debbie is off for a 4 a.m. calling got to get up early when I get it. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and take off as well. I really just want to kind of just tune in, get the show done, get it published. Meeting tomorrow. We'll be back here Wednesday night. That's the plan. So far, so good. We're sticking to that schedule, which is tremendously helpful. I think on my end, knowing the nights that I'm doing it makes it a little easier than trying to come home and rush through it and then not getting it done. So this absolutely is working. But go ahead and get over on Facebook, get on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, wherever you are. Certainly continue to engage and interact in there. It just kind of makes my day go by fun as well. So continue to do that. So let's see. Lee's talking to Chris. He said it was this morning or so, not a live show recorded. Missing. Yeah, so 192 was released last night. 193 is today. So 192 is out in your app. You should have 192. I released it this morning at, actually I released it last night at midnight. So 192 is out there. This is 193. 194 is Wednesday night. Yep. So correct. Correct. Michelle said 192 was not a live show. So 192 was just me getting it done. So very, very, very good. So cool, cool, cool. All right. With that, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up so I can go get this stuff off to get you 193. Chris, yes, Chris was in episode 192. It just was not a live show. So for those of you who listened to 192, Chris is now here. Wishing you good focus.